Good afternoon from not so sunny England. Actually, it's quite sunny today. We're going to look at Streptocarpus today. They've bloomed their little heads off for 10 months of the year. It's now mid-December, and look at what we've got now. A few blooms left. This one's Streptocarpus DS Frippit. Still a nice one, but the leaves aren't looking too clever. And over here, we've just got a bunch of plants that are looking pretty dreadful, I would say. We've got yellowing leaves. We've got loads and loads of these spent flower stalks here. Some of the Streptocarpus crystallice varieties are still going strong. These ones are actually bred for all year round blooming, but even those, you can see the leaves are beginning to go and they're looking very, very compact and congested. So I am going to do something with those, maybe a little later on. This one just about hanging on, but again you can see very congested, loads and loads of spent flower stalks. The leaves aren't looking too good, and we'll just have a look at these over on this side. So these on this side are the ones that actually went over more quickly than the others. I mean, look at what's going on here with these leaves, not looking too clever. And finally, I'll just show you these ones up here. They really need something to happen to them. These are not going to perform that well for me next year if I leave them in this state. So what I need to do with them is give them a really good tidy up, and I will lay out the steps of what I need to do. I'm not going to do it with all of them, obviously, in front of the camera. I'll just do it with a couple and show you what you can do in order to rejuvenate them ready for next year. So let's jump into it. And we are in. Okay, so I'm not going to actually go into all the care requirements for Streptocarpus. I have another video for that, and I will put a card up at the end of this one. This is purely going to be what to do step by step in order to rejuvenate your Streptocarpus ready for reblooming again. Usually March time. Most of them start to come into bloom in April time, but you'll certainly see some flowers in March. So pretty much 2 months, that's all you're going to get. This isn't a proper dormancy. This is just like a bit of a rest for them, a little bit of a non-growth period. And I imagine that even if they're in the house, I mean, obviously here I've got mine down to 12. They will go a little bit lower, but I've got mine down to 12, and that is why they're beginning to show me that they're ready for a rest. If yours are in the house, maybe yours will go a little bit longer, but at some point you're going to find that this is what happens. So step one, you need to do an audit. Nothing too onerous, you don't need to write anything down. We're simply going to have a look at our plants and decide which ones are the ones that we're going to leave as they are and which are the ones that are going to tidy up. You might actually do as I do, and even if it's a lovely crystallice variety like this and it's got loads of buds on it, you look at the leaves, you look how congested it is, and you might think to yourself, actually I'm going to sacrifice those flowers in order to get a really good start early on next year. So separate out the plants that you want to leave with the ones that really need something to happen to them. You may even want to look at some of them that might need a repot. The ones that you're going to leave in a pot, I tend to leave them for at least a couple of years if they're in a large pot. If they're in a small pot, then perhaps they might do a little bit sooner. So that's your first job, audit them. I'm going to take a couple of them out now, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do. Okay, so we're over on the workbench, and I've got a couple of plants out to show you. So you can see when you get that kind of thing, like a really tight bud, it's not going to open up again. I get that sporadically throughout the year, usually more towards the end of the year when they're really ready for a dormancy. So you can see what's going on here. We've got loads of leaves looking terrible. We've got little bits of mould going on there. We've got leaves discolouring. It's really compacted, so that needs something to be done with it. Same with that one, exactly the same problem. Loads and loads of congested flower spikes. It's really not that difficult. Now, I've not seen anywhere anybody doing this, and I've also not read about it, but this is just something that I've come up with through trial and error, through years of growing these things. So, first job, anything that is yellowing, remove. Okay, nothing too tricky about that. Now, you'll find that if you pull, you can actually get those flower spikes out. So we've got there like 4 or 5 flower spikes, spent flower spikes on a leaf stalk. You want to pull that thing off. You don't want to cut it, otherwise you're going to be left with that. Streptocarpus grow in rosettes, and the rosettes can get very, very congested. You also get this kind of thing where like the top edge of the leaf turns a different colour. I would also cut that off as well. Be quite ruthless, and yeah, of course you will sacrifice a few things. Sometimes you'll get a good leaf with it, and see what's going on, how I'm pulling them out. And this really does give some space to, let's just pull that one, there we go, just got the end of that leaf stalk. It gives some space for the plant to rejuvenate and grow. If you leave them in the state that they're in at the moment, then I don't think that they grow the same in the following springtime. And these won't do much now for the next couple of months. They'll be very quiet. Okay, now already you can see it's beginning to look better. Now that one, I would leave that one as it is. I don't even think I'm going to pot that one on. I can tell by squeezing the pot actually. They're very fibrous, the roots on Streptocarpus, but they can get really, really compacted. So you know if it's ready for a pot on by squeezing it. And if it's filling out that pot, you won't be able to do that. Now this one, I probably took this one as a cutting either last year or the year previous. So that one's okay as it is. I'm not going to feed them at the moment because obviously I'm going to reduce watering, seeing as we've got a couple of months of winter. Then when it comes round to springtime, probably late February, early March, then I'll pop in a feeding stick or one of the little tablets that you can buy, and then it will start to grow again. So that's one done. That one doesn't need repotting. This one, a little bit more tricky. So straight away, I'm going to pull all these yellow ones off. If I can grab hold of some flower stalks as well, I mean, look at that. Pulling, not cutting, that's the trick. Pulling, not cutting. And if you can see that it's really congested and you want to make some room, don't be frightened of pulling the rosettes out. It's got plenty of roots, it'll come back. If you get right down there, you can see loads and loads of little stumps. You need to pull those, pull them and waggle them, anything to get them up. And it's almost as if it starts to breathe a sigh of relief because it's got all that space and you won't get all that mould all over the leaves anymore. If you grow them in the house, it may well be that they don't look quite as bad as this. Obviously mine here, as they're in the greenhouse, they are subjected to more extremes than I'd like them to be. But I'd be surprised if they didn't want some attention at this time of year. Be quite ruthless. Anything you don't like the look of, pull it off. Believe me, they will come back with nice, strong green leaves. Okay. So again, have a good look at the bottom. See any stumps, anything that looks knobbly, pull it up. Anything that's a little bit soft, pull it up. So you can see that one is looking much more at home now. I think I might get rid of that one too. You're not going to damage them. All the roots are still in there. I want to chop that one back. If you've got any particularly long leaves as well, don't be frightened of chopping them back. I very often cut mine back because they get so long. Still a few more stalks in there. Don't leave anything behind. Finish that one off. Just as you think you're done, then another stalk appears. Okay, so that one is pink Layla. Right, now I'm happy with that. I'm happy with those leaves. They're looking much more healthy now. Loads of space for new growth. And I'm going to squeeze the pot. Now that one is quite tight. And if I knock it out, you can see that there's not a lot of room there. But I'm not going to repot it. And the reason for that is it could be worse than that. It could be more pot bound than that. It's only been in here a couple of years, so I'm going to leave it another year. See another little knobbly bit there. See, that's the kind of thing to pull off, and it will come back with renewed vigour. Okay, I'm happy with that. So that's 2 done. Just another, I don't know, 20 odd to do, and then that'll be it. So if you are going to repot them, then either use a John Innes number 2 with perlite, or a multi-purpose compost, a peat-free multi-purpose compost with perlite. And don't overpot them. If you think that it's not really that congested, then leave it. It'll do another year, no problem. Okay, so I've got another 20 odd to do. It's going to take me all afternoon. I don't expect that I'll do them all at once. However, I will steadfastly remain at my task until I've got them all done by the end of the year. If you've got any questions about Streptocarpus, please put in the comments below anything that you need to ask me, or even anything that will give us some insight into your own experiences with them. The other job that I've got to do this afternoon is to tidy that up. This is Ed's Orchids' new plant that I'm going to give to him tomorrow at the Orchid Show Christmas party lunch. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and for now I'll see you on the next one. Bye.